this, man. These phones and they're overexposing. Apologies if you hear me coughing and all that stuff. Recently got a little bit sick. It's not, you know, COVID or anything like that, but it is indeed. I just got a little bit sick after lifting, these mask mandates after a year. I guess you can kind of expect that, right? But let me see here. Let's do live chat. So the first topic I want to discuss is this spatial audio stuff, and not just spatial audio, because I also want to talk about things when it comes to this whole app, all of these things surrounding Apple in general, because I feel like a lot of tech reviewers are sitting here and just constantly praising Apple for things that they didn't invent and acting as if they did invent it, but whatever, right? Um, what's very interesting about spatial audio in particular is that people are acting like it's this God's kiss that Apple put upon the earth or something like that, right? That's what they kind of act like. And for me, I feel when it comes to any of these sort of 3D sound manipulation kind of things, V60 has it, um, V50, V40 had it, G8, G7 had it, where the DTSX 3D surround sound stuff. I believe HTC would do it too. No, I don't think they had any sort of 3D manipulation thing, but they did indeed have boom sound was some, variant of audio manipulation. But the difference now is that with Apple doing it, more record companies want to get behind it and actually tune these they want to mix and master these tracks or these albums so that they can be optimized for spatial audio. And the problem that you're going to run into when it comes to this is tracks that you've heard for decades, albums that you've heard that have been around for decades, are going to sound different. And different is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be weird and it could just not be for you. The Give me a second. Crap, apologies. The problem with taking, say, Beatles is a great example, right? Taking a Beatles album that was originally mixed in mono and then mastering it all the way to the point to to be manipulated into being more ready for something like spatial audio is that it can make things sound unnatural, right? Um, Again, I'm not necessarily saying this is a bad thing because it's cool that Apple is able to pull strings and be like, look, we want to do this. Let's do this together, and they do it with the record companies, and that's totally fine. But I feel like these tech reviewers or these more the Apple shills that sit here and say, or the people that are more astute about Apple things, they want to just sit here and say that it's the best thing ever because it sounds different, not necessarily because it's actually better. Having an instrument sound like it's over here or over there or back there or behind your cat's ass or something like that is not necessarily something that I feel is better. I do feel like it can indeed be different and still good. But would that be a preferable way to listen to music? Not necessarily. It could definitely be a way to like initially spatial audio was meant for movies and TV shows and things like that, right? And I think that's where it should have honestly that's where it should have stayed because it makes more sense to have that. Like you have that in movie theaters for movies with the Dolby, I forget what it's called, um, the Dolby Cinema experience, basically, where they have like 1,800 different goddamn speakers around, and certain sounds will play over here, certain will play over here, rumblings will go all across the theater. It works better for movies and TV shows than it does for music, in my personal opinion. Where the stereo experience, I feel, just makes more sense. But obviously, I can't necessarily test that stuff because, as you guys can see, obviously, I have a V60, um, so I can't necessarily test spatial audio. I don't have an iPhone anymore. I pretty much gave up on iPhones. I'm bored of them. But I do still have an iPhone 6S, and I could just do a free trial of Apple Music if I really want to know. Then I can just connect, some AirPods Pro to them or for spatial audio and be totally good. But honestly, I just feel like this whole tech reviewers creaming in their pants over spatial audio, the few that don't tend to be the ones that are more reasonable about it, right? But a lot of them were just like, "Have you ever heard it? It just sounds so amazing." I was like, "Yeah, I heard it. It's cute. It's cute. That's all it really has ever been to me. It's adorable, dog. Like, quit acting like everything that Apple does is this, like I said, God's kiss to the universe. Like, it just isn't that." Um, I really don't know what else to talk about. I do want to talk about the Xperia One Mark III, but I do want to wait until more people come in and start talking. So, um, I guess another thing I want to talk about. I guess we could go to gaming. I guess. So the whole what do they call it, the Summer Games Showcase, which is just the replacement of E3, is is going on. And one game that I don't really understand them making is that Avatar game. And Ubisoft making it of all developers, because what doesn't really make sense to me is why now? I get it. Everybody creamed over the visuals of Avatar, but is the story that deep, that rich to go into and actually have a compelling story over it, or are people just gonna have pretty much the same reaction that they had to Avatar? The visuals were great. The story was just Pocahontas. Like, is that basically gonna be the entire thing? We'll see. I don't hate Ubisoft games. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a fun game. Immortals Phoenix Rising, a game that just came out. I did like it a lot. It's fun, but I don't know if they're going to do the same kind of style for that. They might do something different, but we'll see. Another thing that I just saw that they're doing is they're doing a Guardians of the Galaxy game. And recently with Square Enix, they did the Avengers game, right? Crystal Dynamics did the Avengers game. And here's what I'll say about that. I did buy it. I did spend $90 on it when it came out. Um, it's okay. Like the combat, I think is really good, is really fun, and is where it should have been. It's everything else around the game that's just right? And I wonder with Guardians of the Galaxy if they're going to do something similar, where let me make sure it's an actual separate game because it looks so goddamn similar to the Avengers game that I literally thought it was just um I literally thought it was just an expansion of or something. It ain't coming out in 2021. More Deus Ex than Avengers. Save the universe, probably Marvel's. Uh, I'll probably look more into this later, but I just want to see because I was watching a stream earlier and an ad came up for it, so I was just seeing what the hell it was. Um, yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's like. Wait, so are you just playing as Star Lord? That's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about that if you're just playing as Star Lord, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not gonna buy it directly out of the gate, mainly because I'm just not interested. But it was just interesting to see a Guardians of the Galaxy game right after they flubbed Avengers. Like, is this really what they're doing now? The Square Enix must have paid a lot of money. They must have paid a lot of money. But yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know. Like, obviously, it's going to be more difficult to talk about these things when I don't really have anybody to bounce off of right now. But in terms of certain things, I do feel like in terms of gaming and things like that, it's becoming very interesting to see how many people gravitate toward these kind of things. In terms of what I feel on, say, the Xperia 1 Mark III, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit more. Obviously, a lot of videos have been coming out, so it's been very interesting to see um, the amount of people that are saying certain things on it. But what I do want to talk about before that, while I take a screenshot I didn't want to take, is the Sony WF-1000 XM4s, right? Um, it's very interesting to see the amount of people that are either liking them or not liking them, right? There are far too many videos that are like they're the new kings of true wireless, right? And this isn't me trying to just be negative on them. It's just interesting to just see that dichotomy, that sort of video come out, and nobody's like, they're okay. Like, I would like to see at least one of those videos, but it seems like a lot of them. It's either they're the greatest thing out here right now, or are they the best out here right now? And it's just like a clickbaity title, and and then they end up coming to the conclusion, yeah, they're the best. And the 1000 XM4s, I really do want them. I've been tempted so much to just get them, but I want to wait to see if Sony makes a bundle with the One Mark III. Because they done that with the One Mark II. They have a XM3 and One Mark II bundle. So I wanted to see, are they just and all the promo material for the XM4s, they do have the One Mark III in those videos. Like the headphones connected to that phone. Oh, excuse me. So it'll be very interesting to see if they actually do have that. If they actually do have that kind of bundle through like B&H Photo or something like that, because that would be really cool. Like, to just get them both out of the gate like that. Let me show you here. So I go to B&H Photo, right? I don't know why it still shows the V20 as like the one thing I looked up on B&H Photo years ago. And I was showing the Olympus EM1, but Sony Xperia 1 Mark III. Or, wait, what? Okay, at least they did at one point. I don't know. Whatever. But what's really interesting is that when I looked on their page, right? When I looked on the page for the One Mark III, um, what's very interesting to see is that as you guys can probably see there, well, you probably can't because let's do this. It does indeed say, quit exposing it. Christ. It says, item will be available for purchase on Thursday, July 1st at 10 a.m. So that is intriguing to say the least. Quite frankly. Um, I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting it to be like August, but if July is the actual release date, July 1st, that's going to be very interesting to see. Now, like I said, I don't know which storage capacity of the phone I've got. I might just get the 256 gigabyte variant since it does have an SD card slot. So it's not going to be like the S21 Ultra right here, which will just end up, that just gets its storage ate out by me doing everything on it. So I might just do 256. I want the 512, but I don't know if it's really going to be that much needed. It might just be overkill. So I might just be like, 256 should be fine. And that'll probably cement even more the fact that so long as your phone has a SD card slot, 256 gigs of internal storage is totally fine. But if you just have the internal storage, it's not going to be great. So yeah, I'm fairly excited. I'm saving up for this damn phone quite a bit. It's taking a while, but I'll get there. That's no problem. It's gonna be very interesting to see how well that competes to the S21 Ultra right here, because I'm having issues with this phone that I feel a lot of people don't like to talk about. The phone definitely does get pretty goddamn warm. It's getting warm right now. It's not terrible. I'm literally right under the AC. There's literally a vent right here. So it's not terrible, but this phone just gets like weirdly warm. The hopes that I do have for the One Mark III is that the battery life is just going to be good. I don't necessarily need it to be V60, but if it's on par with say the S21 Ultra, I'll be fine with it, right? Um, I hope the cooling is definitely better than what this phone has. This phone is just like some cheap copper like plate or whatever over the battery, and that's what they're calling cooling. And it doesn't really. Let's just say my LG G8 stays cooler than this phone, and I use my G8 for the pretty much the same stuff. So it doesn't make sense to me that the S21 Ultra gets as hot as it does. But whatever, I guess. Or not hot, but warm as it does. Hot in like these times because the temperature out here in Minnesota is like it's like in the 80s and 90s right now. And if you guys know, it's typically cooler in Minnesota, so it's whatever, I guess. But yes, literally 96 degrees out right now, or 83 rather, which is fine. I don't necessarily think that's bad, but it's just something that I feel is a little bit sad. Um, to have to be outside in this heat. I might actually come back later and do a separate stream, talk a little bit more about this stuff. But yeah, um, let me check because I do need to charge my Ultra here. But in terms of this, is all I really wanted to say for this one in particular. Have a good one. If you did watch, I guess, have a good one.